Hello, everyone. Today we are joined with two very experienced doctors and a guest as well, special guest. Uh, we have Dr. Hashmi, who is a consultant and a psychiatrist with many, many years of experience. And we have Dr. Mirza, who also has many, many years of experience as a GP. And then we have a youth representative as well, and he will come in and try and give a perspective in the conversation. So yes, today's topic of conversation is about management of ADHD. So Dr. Hashmi, I'd like you to just start off with how you would go about managing ADHD as a doctor.
Oh, thank you very much, Diane. Uh, there are simple strategies. To start with the very simple strategies, rather what I suggest to patients is household products or simple gadgets to start with. Yeah. And the first thing I talk about is amber glasses. Now, you would be curious to know what amber glasses does in ADHD. Now, in our brains, there is a small gland called pineal gland, and pineal gland secretes melatonin. And melatonin is integral to stabilize and regularize our sleep-wake cycle. Yeah. Now, in ADHD, brain is hyperactive. There are too many thoughts crossing one's mind, and this interferes to fall into sleep. So they can actually go to bed and lie there for hours sometimes trying to calm down their brain to fall into sleep. Yeah. Now we need to speed up the pineal gland and speed up the production of melatonin to start with. Now, amber glasses, dark amber glasses, and you can just buy any pair, the cheapest and the darkest, I generally say, and start wearing them for half an hour before bedtime. You can play on your computer, you can do whatever you want to do. Just put the glasses on. And those glasses actually blocks the blue light and activates the pineal gland to start secreting melatonin. And you will start yawning in 15 minutes. This is the only method to stabilize and regularize your sleep-wake cycle and overcome initial insomnia. That means the time we takes when we go to bed and fall into sleep. And it can be up to hours in ADHD. So that is the time when actually mind gets out of control. The worst time of anybody's life is when they go to bed, wants to sleep, and they don't get sleep, because the brain just go out of control. And the more brain go out of control, mind go out of control, the more difficulty you find to fall into sleep. So overcoming that, you just need to wear amber glasses for half an hour before bedtime, and you continue wearing them religiously for 6 to 8 weeks. You are going to make your brain, your pineal gland, learn how much melatonin you need and what time you need it, and it's just become a part of your of your system, biological system. Taking melatonin tablets will inhibit the system. So melatonin as a tablet, as a medication, will help you with sleep, no doubt about it. But as body works on positive and negative feedback, if the our system sense that there is enough chemical in the body, they don't make it. Like if you take a thyroid tablet, if you're not hypothyroid, would thyroid gland still make thyroxine? No, because you have plenty in your system. Yeah. When people take steroids, do they get the natural steroids made by the system? No, because the body works on this system that if you are giving the body melatonin from outside as a tablet, why pineal gland will bother making any more? So amber glasses reinstate the natural sleep wake cycle.
The
The
melatonin
nat-
tablets is this, you can get it over the counter or online, or is it prescribable
it's,
only?
It's prescribed only. It comes with some restrictions. I think it is for middle age, 50, 54 years old, I believe, in BNF. You can only prescribe to certain amount in certain period, about 13 weeks is the maximum. But I routinely come across people, very young people, who are on a large dose for a very long time on melatonin tablets. Now, people can source melatonin through the sources, whatever sources they wish to use, but it is a prescription only medication. You cannot buy it over the counter, and I would not recommend anybody to actually source melatonin through any other source. They must discuss with their doctor if they have sleep problems, and they must take the medication recommended by the doctors. In ADHD, usually sleeping tablets or benzodiazepines do not work. Even sedative antidepressants, hit and miss. Uh, I have come across situations where mirtazapine, which is considered as quite sedating antidepressant, a very small dose like 7.5 milligrams, so half of the 15 milligram tablet, helps. Now, uh, the good thing about mirtazapine in a small dose is that it's an antidepressant. It doesn't come with dependency. It's a very sedative drug, and you are only using it for sleep. But technically, it is not entirely helpful in ADHD. It can give you better, it can improve sleep, but if you want your natural sleep wake cycle to be reinstated biologically, in biological terms, you must wear amber glasses for half an hour before bedtime for 6 to 8 weeks.
There are some people who are listening and they might be on metazapine like 30,
Mm,
45. So when you say 7.5, we don't come across a lot of people on 7.5
mm.
because the minimum dose is 15 from BNF. So it means that this is the dose which is used as sleeping and it will not have antidepressant effects.
Very mild antidepressant effect, but sometimes doctors do tend to impulsively increase the dose of medication as well. When it comes to mirtazapine, it's a very interesting drug. In a small dose, it's actually more sedating. The more you increase the dose, the sedating effect reduces. So it's best sedating 7.5 and then 15. And the moment you hit 30, its sedating effect goes down. At 45, it's very low. So effectively no sedating effect at 45.
Right.
So I suggest just half of 15 milligram if you are using it for sleep.
So with the self-help, you can buy the amber glasses and to get your melatonin. Is there anything else which can be done?
Yes. Now, the other thing I am very and a big fan of, and I recommend it, these are the strategies which I use working with neurodiversity, especially for ADHD. Now, in ADHD, you are so distractible. You are so distracted by the external stimuli. Anything around you happening, when a small noise or a sound can actually distract you. Yeah. So basically, high distraction level, high level of sensory need makes your mind to attract to every stimuli. You need to satisfy your sensory needs. Yeah. Now, I first give you an example before telling you what you need to do. Ask the individual with ADHD, when they throw themselves in the hot bath, when they immerse themselves in the hot bath, do they still feel as distracted as they were before going into the bath? The answer would be no. If they are under the shower, they won't feel as distracted. When they are actually using electric toothbrush, will they still be distracted? No. Why? Because these actually satisfy their sensory needs. Yeah. So I suggest foot massage slippers.
Foot massage sleepers.
Foot massage slippers. And foot massage slippers, you can buy it from anywhere. There are plenty. of them online available. You can actually get about £5-6 a pair. The cheapest, whatever choice you want. There are plenty of choices available. Whatever you feel comfortable with, just buy a pair and start wearing them.
And what
Now,
is the biophysiology, how it works?
yes, because it's going to give you a light sensations under your feet. So your soul will be mildly massaged whenever you walk.
Okay.
Then that's the sensations perceived by your psychological system and satisfy your sensory needs. Now, once you start wearing them, and you will actually be surprised how beneficial these simple slippers could be, that you will be benefited from three things. Number one, you will feel calmer. You would not know how, but you will just feel calmer. Yeah. You will be less distracted because your sensory needs are being satisfied.
Yeah.
And the third thing is, in ADHD, times individual needs a parallel activity to undertake an activity. Like music must be switched on for them to read an email. So they got to have a
He's gone. Diane, are you there?
they will see their need for parallel activity to reduce.
Right.
So these actually slippers, very simple thing to use in your day-to-day life. And then when they are sitting in a chair and do something, they can use wobbly cushion. Now, wobbly cushion is used for children in primary schools, children with ADHD. For the same reason, sensory need satisfaction. They do sit on wobbly cushion far longer than they would have sat otherwise. And if you look at it, wobbly cushion is basically the simple thing, is very much like a plastic cushion, which actually comes with a pump. You can actually pump whatever level of air you would like to be, and with some sensory stuff on it, so you can feel some rough surface on it, and you just sit on it and you'll feel more comfortable. You just sit and work a bit longer on wobbly cushion.
All right.
Yeah, very simple technique with ADHD for sensory need satisfaction.
You said that for children they use certain techniques, but
They use it in school. Primary schools, it is not uncommon for primary schools to use wobbly cushion for children with ADHD.
Then my question would be then, because I remember in the last episode you said that there's different ways of expressing it between men and women. So would you suggest different ways of management for men and women because they express it differently?
No, I think the management, because the actual pathology, the need is there. What the difference of expression is mainly cultural. Girls don't jump on chairs in the class. You know what I mean? Boys tends to do that. So it's more of a cultural element to it, which shows it that they, like, for example, in some cultures, girls are expected, if they have gone into a formal meeting, or if the family or the parents take them, the whole family to meet somebody in anybody's house, they are not expected to move the place. They are expected to sit there quietly. They are expected to do certain things. So it's more cultural element which actually makes it more difficult to pick, and that's where the or pen or something like that, or doodling. Chronic doodling is a sign of hyperactivity.
Okay.
Okay, so Ryan, you have got a question. What was your question?
So like, because there's lots of young people that say they have some of the symptoms of ADHD, like doing some random things and things like that. So because some people say that, but they don't actually have it. Why do you think that is?
Um, what I understood is that you see young people doing random things.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2, 3 things you need to look at. Number one, is there procrastination? Like, are they intending to do something else, but delaying to do things which they are meant to do? So the priority list is not right in their brain. In their mind, the priority list is not right. Yeah. And in an attempt to delay, because what happens is mind struggle to start any work, initiate any work which is perceived as difficult, boring, or requires sustained mental effort. So anything which is perceived as boring, difficult, or requiring sustained mental effort, the individual is likely to do other things instead of getting onto the task and starting it. Now, it is natural, could be natural, because we all takes a while to start anything which we perceive as difficult and require sustained mental effort. We all do it. But it does not interrupt to the extent of delaying things. And then I usually call them lastminute.com, because everything they do it at the last minute. So you will see them preparing for exams whilst on the train to the examination hall. And the books are open a night before. And at that time, their concentration, because they are very intelligent guys, intelligent people, intelligent boys, intelligent girls, and they are very visual learners. So even the one night of working on the subject give them reasonable results. They can actually get through GCSEs with good marks. But if you ask them, they will always say that I never managed to perform up to my abilities. I have always underperformed. And secondly, what you see in them is they will do multiple activities at the same time. So a lot of things will be ongoing at the same time, but everything will be left unfinished. So that is what happens.
Okay.
So the some
Also,
sorry. No,
you
you
go. You go. It's fine.
these people who are some people, they think they have got ADHD, but they haven't got ADHD. They just are presenting like to get some sympathy, or is that what they do, or is because with ADHD, what you are telling is sort of then they affects their performance as well later part of the life. Then they have got
Yeah.
to do the finish the tasks as well. So will they become high achievers?
Oh, yes, of course. Of course, means like so many people I know actually, they went back on, once they were on proper management, which includes medication, they went back to university and came out with flying colors, and they have started achieving what they wanted to achieve. Even years and years of doing something else. Like, for example, I remember a young man whose father involved him into his business, thinking that he will never achieve anything because he's just not academic. The guy always wanted to do qualifications in ancient history, but he could not manage to do it because he was trapped. For years he worked for his father. And eventually, I think things came to a head where he became quite upset and needed to see a psychologist. And the psychologist actually happens to be, I know that the psychologist, very renowned psychologist, works with me for a number of individuals we have worked together, actually asked me to assess him. And I assessed him. He was diagnosed with ADHD. I started him on treatment. He did his access and doing now masters in ancient history. So yes, success is there. Once your concentration attention is sorted, that's fine. Now the other thing I wanted to talk about is electric blanket, the myth of electric blanket in neurodiversity. Anybody who would hear about ADHD, ASD, the first thing you actually hear, weighted blanket, so not electric blanket, sorry, weighted blanket. You will see somebody would have given them advice to buy a weighted blanket. They're expensive items, and a lot of people end in buying them and start using them and throwing them, that it has never been helpful. One thing for sure, in neurodiversity, you got to understand the sleeping style of the individual before giving advice on weighted blanket. Yeah. Now, you need to establish whether one has sensory needs during the sleep or not. And how you find out? You ask them, how do they use their duvet? And if the individual is using the duvet like a cocoon, completely wrapped in the duvet to sleep, some people do, they just wrap themselves top to bottom, and they are not happy even with one duvet. Sometimes they put a blanket on it as well and another duvet on it, really. So just wrap it completely during the sleep. That means their sensory needs are there during the sleep as well. So they would benefit from weighted blanket. The quality of sleep will improve. If somebody in the habit of sleeping actually one side of the bed or waking up on the other side, or duvet is somewhere else and the person is somewhere else, then giving them weighted blanket is a useless exercise, will never help. You got to establish whether there is a need for sensory needs during the night, and that can only be established. You need to know how they sleep, how they wrap themselves up in the duvet. So I ask individuals that, tell me how you sleep. How do you use your duvet when you sleep?
What is weighted blanket?
Weighted blanket is a blanket which is weighted. Yeah, with a weight. It's heavy.
Oh, okay.
It's heavy blanket.
Okay.
It's meant to be heavy. Yeah. And there is a calculation on your body weight. So whenever you go to any website which is selling weighted blankets, they will give you a kind of a breakdown which will tell you what weight of the blanket will work for you. They can't sell it without that. Yeah, you need to see what is your body weight, and then according to that body weight, they will recommend you what weight of blanket you need to buy. They are expensive though. It will cost some money to buy them. They are not 4 or 5 pound stuff. They are quite expensive, but they actually heavy. So they actually put you underweight. So when you put the weighted blanket on, you feel being as weight has come on you. And in neurodiversity, actually, sometimes the sensory need is for pressure. It is necessary to be there for you to have a comfortable sleep.
Oh, good. Any other questions? Because we are running out of time.
Question. So you talked about external things that people can buy in order to help with their sensory needs. Is there any sort of mental models or things you could suggest that people can use so that they are better at focusing? Because I think one of my friends, has ADHD, and when he reads, he finds it difficult. So he imagines as if he's in his own world. So I don't know.
You know, visual learning. They need to rely on their visual learning. They're intelligent guys. They're very, very intelligent people. ADHD individuals are absolutely intelligent, far more intelligent than anybody else. Yeah. And they're very strong visual learner. So what I recommend is, if they want to learn about a subject, they can watch a video. They can watch a video, YouTube video on it, how it's done. What in technical terms, it's actually not in technical, in layman terms, it's called the muscle memory. So what they'll do is, actually, if they're working on a motor engine, if they're fixing an engine or something like technical, they might not remember the process, but their hands will go through the process with no issues whatsoever. They will do the job right. Yeah. So it is 2-3 things they understand. Number one, they are very good with hands. Number two, they like a job which is more of a constant stuff. That's where their internet playing comes in. Yeah. something where they can keep on doing things, yeah, one after the other. And the third thing is actually they need to abuse their visual learning skills. How they are going to do it? Instead of understanding a paragraph, they can actually make a picture of it. They can make a diagram. They can make a flow chart. They can use multiple color markers, highlighters. So instead of, even a lot of times, one of actually individual young man came to me and he was done for cheating. He never did a cheating. He was a wonderful, wonderful man. Actually, the reason he was suspected of cheating, because his visual memory was so good that he actually took a photograph of a paper, of a book, and reproduced it the way it was.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it is. The photographic is absolutely wonderful memory.
Wow.
They can look at things and then take a photograph and reproduce it.
Thank you very much. I think we have some few seconds left, and we will.
We can do the third video on the medication management of ADHD, because that we have not done.
And we should do it a little bit quicker because I think there's lots of waiting time.